From the film being set in 1969, at the height of the space race, to the return of some truly fan-favorite characters like Sala. These are all of the new Indiana Jones 5 details fans need to know.
This is not the Mitchell Hedges skull. Look at the elongated cranium. And the same word in different languages over and over again.
Starting with the fact that it's easily going to be one of the most hyped films of this year. I mean, let's be real. It's hard not to be excited by Indy's return to the big screen. There's just so much to look forward to, especially considering Indiana Jones is one of the most iconic characters of all time. Another reason fans can't wait for this movie is that the wait between the fourth and fifth film has been absurdly long. Most people are absolutely ready to see where this next chapter of Indy's journey leads them. It helps that the film's trailers have showcased an interesting look into some truly high-stakes moments and epic action scenes.
Now I know why Oxley put the skull back where he found it. He knew you were looking for it.
That skull is no mere deity carving. Surely you knew that the moment you laid eyes on it, it was not made by human hands.
For a lot of us, it felt like watching the franchise again for the first time. It helps that Ford is returning to his role as Indy, bringing that same charismatic and daring charm that's made him such a household name. But there's another big reason why longtime fans are so excited, and it's that the film is gonna dive into Indy's past. If you've been following this franchise for a while, prepare to be amazed. Director James Mangold confirmed that the film is going to be relying on some flashback scenes, which will help to connect the audience to the rich history of Indiana Jones. It's going to serve as glimpses into the character's past, while also helping new viewers understand all of the main accomplishments and hurdles he's faced over his long-spanning career as an archaeologist. Interestingly, they're not hiring a new actor to portray a younger Indy. Instead, the film is apparently going to make use of de-aging technology and make Harrison Ford appear a lot younger. Now, I know tech like this doesn't always work out, but I'm hoping that they are able to nail the look of a younger Indy and really make those flashback scenes stand out.
I just had a question on Hargrove's normative culture model.
Forget Hargrove. Read Ver Gordon Child on diffusionism. He spent most of his life in the field.
It's going to be the perfect punch of nostalgia that this chapter of the franchise desperately needs, I think, especially because Jones isn't exactly in the best place at the start of the film. Part 5 of Indiana Jones isn't going to be all rainbows and sunshine, folks. In fact, it'll open with Indiana Jones living anonymously in a world that no longer cares about the things he once held so dear. The world is progressing around him, and no one seems to have the time for buried treasure and lost artifacts. Kind of a bummer, isn't it? But of course, this is going to add a ton of complexity and layers to Indy's character. And of course, Ford's age is going to play a big role in making all of this have a bigger impact. Coupled with a few really bittersweet flashback sequences, it feels like Indiana Jones is really going to start off on a tragic note. It's not going to have the epic adventurous vibes that the other sequels did. Well, not at first anyway, because the story is exciting enough to get Indy back in action. So, the film is set in 1969. And you know what that means, right? It's time for a space race. The American effort to beat the Russians to the moon is underway, but it's unearthing some seriously uncomfortable truths for Indy, especially the fact that the show is now being run by ex-Nazis. Yup, now that's definitely gotta suck for him. Our hero is going to feel out of place in this new era, because what it means to be a hero has completely changed. The people that he spent his life fighting against are now supposedly on his side. It's gotta be tough to deal with for sure. I've gotta say, this is a really interesting route to take the story to, especially because the main villain is sorta based on a real German engineer who was recruited by NASA to work on the moon landings. Maybe this film is gonna make the audience come to terms with some uncomfortable truths too, huh? Oh, and speaking of the villain, he's being portrayed by none other than Mads Mikkelsen. Talk about stellar casting. Mads is here to really steal the show with his portrayal of Jürgen Voller, That's the ex-Nazi who's helping the US in their space program. Of course he's not alone, because he's got a crony named Clobber there too. Boyd Holbrook will be portraying this guy. There are a couple of other interesting characters to look out for too though, like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, who's going to be playing Indy's goddaughter Helena. Mangold even called her the catalyst for the film, because apparently she's going to be knee-deep in some trouble, and the only one who can help her out is Indy. But don't think she's some kind of damsel in distress, because she can do her fair share of butt-kicking. Of course, the film is also bringing back some other fan-favorite characters, like Sallah, but so far it doesn't seem like Shia LaBeouf's Mutt Williams will be making a comeback, though the director did mention that the film will address just what happened to him. Fingers crossed he didn't get crushed by a random boulder. But of course, there are tons of other details about the movie that I have yet to cover, like the whole deal surrounding the Dial of Destiny. I mean, it's the literal name of the movie, so it's bound to be important, right? And well, it really is. Like the previous films, the mysterious sounding title of Indiana Jones 5 has to do with an interesting plot point, or at the very least a MacGuffin that's going to be super important. The first trailer showed Indy holding onto a dial-shaped object, so it's possible that we've already gotten a glimpse of just what that item is. Some fans even think that the film is going to delve into time travel territory, with this dial being one of the main devices that helps make it happen. Either way, it seems like it's going to be a fun time, but I would temper my expectations a bit, because this is the only Indiana Jones film that is not being directed by Steven Spielberg. There is no other way to put it. This is a massive bummer. I mean, the legendary director has helmed all previous Indiana Jones movies, so not having him be in the director's chair for this one just kind of feels off, you know? Especially because he was initially supposed to direct the movie, but for one reason or the other, stepped down in 2020. The role was then taken over by James Mangold, who you may remember is the person who directed Ford v Ferrari. Of course, while Spielberg isn't directing, he's still going to be involved in the production, and for what it's worth, Mangold seems like a promising replacement. He already stated how he's committed to making sure that the film has all the charm and humor that fans love. James also wants to keep the spirit of Indy alive with this film, and really make it feel like something that's familiar yet fresh to all fans. It's a bold claim to make, I'll give him that, but he's joined by some truly talented people, so I've got no doubt that he'll knock it out of the park. After all, the screenplay is being penned by Jez Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, and Mangold himself. Oh, and the fans who love the iconic score of the film will be happy to note that James Williams, the mastermind that gave us the franchise's amazing music, will be returning too. With all these amazing new details, it's hard not to be excited. Luckily, the wait for the film isn't going to be too much. This is because the movie is set to release on June 30th. I know it's still a little bit away, but hey, Disney has mentioned that it's going to get its world premiere a bit earlier. This is currently set to happen at the Cannes Film Festival on May 18th. Hopefully there will be some early reviews out by then, so fans will know just what they're in for. But if the trailers and the director's comments are anything to go by, this may just be one of the best Indiana Jones films we've gotten yet. Until then, those were all of the new details about Indiana Jones 5 that fans needed to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.